Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I hate it when the faces are on the screen and they take the light from me. Sorry about that. Today, I'm finally, the fates have chosen that I finally get to watch the Hannah Montana series. Yeah, after 960 some episodes, I finally watched an episode by choice. Well, I was coerced by the algorithm, but still, I mean, I've seen part of an episode here and there with my nieces when they were little and they were big Hannah Montana fans. And yeah, okay, yeah, so I guess I have seen it, but I didn't really pay attention to it. It's Hannah Montana. It's it's not for me. It hasn't, I mean, honestly, this show is from 2006 to 2010, and I tried to figure out because she looks so little in the first episode, and that's the only thing I watched. I only watched one episode. I should have watched the first and the last episode, but I feared that if I made that choice, the last episode would be like an hour long, and I didn't want to be put in that position, so I just watched the first one. I got the gist of it. I know about the double life that she leads. That she's Miley Stewart, not so Miley Cyrus playing Miley Stewart playing Hannah Montana. So yeah, it's, and of course she had to keep her real name Miley, I guess, keep track of things. She's the daughter of Billy Ray Cyrus, who is Billy Ray Stewart in this, of course, and she has a brother, but no mother. Strangely enough, she does have a mother in real life, and I think they had a messy divorce. I'm pretty sure she and her Billy Ray. I think, I don't know. It's, I don't keep up with the tabloids, but she's, this is 2006, and she was born in 92. She's like 13 in this. She looks so much younger. She's so teeny tiny. Anyway, she's, of course, okay, say Hannah Montana is a super mega star. Miley Stewart is a girl who just lives in a Malibu home, which is not cheap, even in 2006. She has a best friend, played by Emily Osment. Her name's Lily. And Lily has a brother, what's his name? Oliver, played by Mitchell Musso. And so Lily and Oliver are not in on the secret. This episode actually does a really good job. The pilot episode does a really good job of introducing each of the characters, the dynamics between each of them, and the whole premise behind her two lives. Why she has to do this and why nobody can figure it out. Like, if you're one of the biggest pop stars in the world as Hannah Montana, odds are somebody's going to go, hey, where'd she come from? She's got a Tennessee accent. Maybe, I don't, maybe Miley does, maybe Hannah doesn't. Maybe Hannah doesn't speak out loud that much, or she hides the accent. I don't know. They did show a few little concert sequences here and there, and it's just the same song over and over again. Meant to look like on the outside shot was Staples Center, I think, in one shot, and inside it's just, she's playing L.A. and it looks like a very small stage. Because why spend all the money to make a gigantic stage? She's not that famous yet, but so yeah. In this, she has friends. She has a dad that they recognize as Billy Ray Stewart, but apparently nobody knows where Hannah comes from. She doesn't have parents. They don't know where she lives in general, at least in general, not necessarily knowing what mansion she lives in, but what's going on here? How does nobody figure this out? Like, somebody's like, okay, Hannah Montana, she jumps into a limousine maybe and just disappears and goes somewhere, and then maybe somehow nobody's figured this out. I mean, I realize the internet maybe was a little bit less invasive back in 2006, but not that much. I mean, come on, people were still stealing identities and ratting out all sorts of garbage through hacks way back then. These days, Miley Stewart would not be getting away with this thing. Well, the point of the episode is that, of course, again, part of the thing is, like, she goes to this middle school with her friend Lily and Oliver, and she, like, how long has she known these kids? Like, they're like, her and Lily are best friends. Lily doesn't know about it. Oliver doesn't know about it. So the subject of, oh, hey, I just got tickets. Lily says, I have tickets to see Hannah Montana in concert. We're 13, 14. We should be excited. And of course, Miley is not, because she is Hannah Montana and she can't go and she has to turn them down. Well, of course, it's the struggle of, well, will she be accepted by her friends as herself when they, if they find out that she's Hannah Montana? And how long will this go on? How long can she keep the secret? Dad, being the wise one, says, you know what, Lily's a really good friend. She might be able to handle it. She can probably be your friend. Meanwhile, Oliver has a humongous crush on Hannah Montana and totally freaks out. Of course, you have to figure out by the end of the episode, somebody finds out the truth, and that's Lily, not Oliver. So they sneak into her dressing room after the concert, and while Oliver gets a towel as a souvenir and falls out the window, presumably surviving, he doesn't hear any of the conversation goes on inside while Lily and Miley meet for the first time, or Hannah and Lily meet for the first time. And in order to make this really silly and something the kids would just crack up over, in order to disguise herself, the big catering table in front of her just filled with cold hot dogs, apparently. Just a stack of cold hot dogs, because that's what teenage girls want to eat, just tons of hot dogs and like a cream pie. So Miley Cyrus, as Miley Stewart, as Hannah Montana, you can see her summoning up the courage to put this pie in her face. You can see the buildup, and I have a feeling in editing it was probably a much longer buildup, as the audience just to get the audience all freaked out, because I think it was filmed in front of a live studio audience, and she just slaps her face with the pie in order to disfigure herself so that she's not recognizable in voice or anything else. Of course, Lily does figure it out after certain clues come to light, and it puts a strain on their friendship at first, and only brings them closer in the end. Meanwhile, Oliver doesn't know the truth, and I have a feeling that's going to come into play much later on. They think over time everybody's going to get the reveal, and it's going to be everybody gets their dramatic reaction thing. Again, I don't know how it would be possible in this day and age. It's not like, I mean, even back in the day, what was his face, that country singer? Not Billy Ray Cyrus, not Mr. Achy Breaky Heart. Oh God, my brain's just farting, and I cannot think of the name. But he's a country star, and he created another whole identity to be like a pop rock kind of guy that didn't fool anybody. But, what are you going to do? Anyway, yeah, these days you can't become a superstar without everybody digging into your past, even if you're a 13-year-old girl, which isn't much of a past if you're only 13. Anyway, it's silly, it's funny, it's cute, I guess. It's not for me. It's not made for me. I can understand why my nieces enjoyed it when they were kids. I don't know if they enjoy it now, because Miley is a very different woman than she was when she was 13, and that's all right. And honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, I will admit this. Miley Cyrus is an actually very talented singer, and she's got a tremendous voice, and the stuff she was given to sing back in her youth here as Hannah Montana is honestly nothing. It's trifle compared to what she's able to do in her. She's gonna be 30 this year. Just think about that, guys. 30. Hannah Montana. Miley Cyrus is gonna be 30. Yeah, I mean, she's all grown up. She's gotten naked and done all sorts of other stuff, but whether you like her style of music or her politics or her sexuality or anything else, you have to admit she's a talented young woman. So I'll give her that. And you have to start somewhere. Not that this was a bad show. Normally when it comes to Disney shows, whether it's just one parent, like a dead parent raising them, or a non-dead parent raising them, yes, but the dead parent trope is there, ding. Usually when you get these kind of things where there's a parent watching over the kids, they're usually made out to be idiots, and the kids are just like, oh, we know better than you, Dad. a feeling that all the future episodes really do have to do with a balance between her trying to get away with things as she grows up and using her influence and in some cases probably her fame to probably outdo things, outdo people in certain ways, while trying to also hide it from others, and it blowing up in her face. And that therein comes the comedy and the tragedy, and everybody learns a lesson. And that's the end of the episode. That's how it usually will probably work, I'm guessing. Although I'm feeling that I have probably I've probably thought about this way too much. I probably have done the most analysis anybody has ever done on the Hannah Montana show. I am pretty sure, and I have not done much. So, yeah, it would not be called analysis, let's just say. Yeah, so 4 seasons. It's a lot of episodes, like 100 episodes. I think they did. She appeared. I checked. She appeared in 100 episodes. So I imagine there was 100. So good for her. Keeping with the 4-season lock Disney Channel originals had back in the day, I guess. Anyway, will I recommend you watch it? If you're me, no. Why? Why would you do that? But if you're a kid, I guess there's worse. There's definitely worse. But I always say it's a product of its time when it comes to shows like this. If you grew up with it, yeah, this might be a little nostalgia kick to check it out. But for the most part, it's not going to be something that you're going to be like, oh, that aged well. No. I have a feeling even Miley Cyrus doesn't feel like ever doing a Hannah Montana song ever again. Best of both worlds or whatever the other thing is. I don't know. That concert video we watched a couple weeks ago or months ago, that might have been the last song and dance for Hannah Montana for all I know. But they preserved it for life, I guess. So, and she grew up a lot since that movie, so yeah. I say, if you love it, enjoy it. If not, there's no reason to seek it out, especially if you're my age. It's not made for us. Okay? Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
376.
376. 376. Okay, we've gotten a lot of documentaries over the last few days, and thankfully they've all been fairly different. You know, we've had baseball, we've had sharks, and we've had a bunch of other stuff. I don't know, but we've done other documentaries about this topic before. I'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm just going to give you the title now. Return of the Clouded Leopards. I don't know if this is a sequel to the first Clouded Leopards. We've watched documentaries about clouded leopards. We have. I've learned about clouded leopards on this Disney Plus Everyday Challenge thing. But now we're going to watch Return of the Clouded Leopards on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge tomorrow. I'll see you then.